Y'all probably say, where exactly are you going with this? I see you really trying to take it there. Old school flows chew you out, ain't fair. Jordan pants don't...
Yeah, what up, YouTube? It's your boy, the Zai. Anyways, I wanted to get into something real quick, but the response on the last video was kind of crazy. It was just mostly one of those videos just to, you know, I got a little hot and I just wanted to clarify something. Just basically to tell about this, like, if it ain't really like gonna go to that point, just to basically keep my name out your mouth. It's just not that serious to, you know, basically clout chase on the channel that's only 15,000. But I'm not gonna get into that. I will be clarifying a few things at the end of this video, so if you stick around, you might hear what I gotta say, and if you don't, hey, just, you know, hey, gracias for paying attention to the first part. But I also want to send my shouts out to Devid Cedillo out of Poway. He's a independent contractor of Herbalife, so he's doing his own thing. Shouts out to homies from Dago, and shouts out to Young Star and Caleb from the Screwed Up Click. He got a release party. It'll be on March 30th at Hayes Puka Lounge, I think in Stratford, Texas, or Stanford, Texas, something like that. I might have slayed it. Shouts out to the homies from Texas, but yeah, he's gonna have his release party, so go ahead and check him out. And to everybody that support the channel, hey, gracias. And you know, it's greatly appreciated. But let me just get into the topic that I want to talk about. And that will be controversial because it will be about Michael Jackson. I know a lot of people are going to come on here and be like, man, what the f is I talking about Michael Jackson for? I like Michael Jackson. Always been a fan of Michael Jackson. You figure I was born in, what, 78? So you know that I grew up in the 80s, and, you know, this is the type of music outside of Keith Sweat and all these other artists that, you know, in NWA, you know, even before rap really came in, you know, R&B pretty much ruled it. So, you know, Michael Jackson has always been a staple in any household that I've been in, as far as, like, even with some homies, like, they've had, you know, multiple CDs of Michael Jackson. And when he fought these cases, I won't lie, I was a little skeptical, and not even skeptical of the fact that I actually thought that he might have did any of these charges. It's just, you know, when you see things from a certain point of view, as far as, like, you know, homies and anybody that's really with that solid work, you automatically become skeptical. But seeing that I'm the type loyalty is over everything, I really like defending him. And believe me, there's people in jail right now that we used to get into it over this same fact that I thought Michael Jackson was absolutely innocent, and the fact that he actually was fighting this case and he beat it only solidified that fact. But I know there's going to be a lot of people in here like, Zach, come on, this dude did this dude did that. But you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm not mad at the fact if you're not a Michael Jackson supporter. But me personally, I love Michael Jackson. I grew up in the 80s, and, you know, Michael Jackson, like I said, has always been a staple in most households that I've been in. But it's kind of funny how they continue to tear down these icons. Like R. Kelly, he did his thing. He did the crocodile tears. Nobody really believed him. All this wilding out. You figure, like, maybe a week before that, he was cocky as hell. It's too late. They should have got at me this, you know, this many years ago. Now it's this and that. It's too late. Like, he was cocky as hell, but now he see that they're coming for his head, and they're gonna knock him down. What he thought is his influence was so beyond reproach that he would get out of it. See, and that's like with a lot of us. We do crimes, you know, or we did crimes in the past, and we did it so many times. It's like you get that sense of intangibility, like you can't be touched. So you get away with one holiday, and you keep doing them until you either get murdered or you get cracked. You know what I'm saying? And you end up in jail for the rest of your life, or you get a slap on the wrist, or they just sit you down for a minute, and then you get out and you just realize that everything is not what it's cracked up to be. But when it came down to this dude R. Kelly, that's just, you know, it's bad karma. That's all it is. You know what I mean? The rooster has came home to roost, or whatever. You know, I don't even really know that saying, but it, you know, at the end of the day, basically whatever you do in the dark will always come to the light. So he did what he did, and now he got to pay for it. Now Michael Jackson, on the other hand, I'm just kind of skeptical about the fact that these guys are coming out of nowhere and they're like, oh, Michael did this, Michael did that. What happened to before he died? See, the whole thing, they want to attack his estate. Now that he's resting in peace, they want to come after the money. They don't have nothing on this dude. The dude that said he got raped, or if you look, it's kind of like the last video where that dude was speaking on me because I wouldn't collab with him. But you listen to this kid, well, he's not a kid, he's an adult now, but if you listen to him, it's like, oh yeah, Michael used to do this and that, and then he found somebody else and replaced me. That's some strong emotions for a young cat, you know what I mean? But they said this dude paid them off. Okay, if your parent is that serious about it and they really thought something happen, why would you allow somebody to pay you off? If you felt like your kid really, you know, I don't care how big the icon is. If you felt like somebody, for the people that I know and the people that I fucked with and have come across, if somebody did something to the kid, there's no amount of money that could keep them from knocking their head up. The same as me. Nobody could pay me to shut up on the fact that you touched my kid. So all of it, to me, is just straight bull. I don't believe nothing that they say. I think once it comes out there and start punching holes in all these dudes' story, but you got places like, I think, New Zealand and parts of Australia that don't even play Michael Jackson's music no more. And it's funny, like, how I see it is like, and it's not even about race, because at the end of the day, the race that people, you know, tend to point the finger at the most don't even run the world. You know, that's just plain and simple fact. You found proof in that with the guy, the prime minister of Israel that just got cracked for all his corruption. You know what I mean? Even he's not intangible, no matter who may run the world. You know what I'm saying? But that's not conspiracy. I just think it's like this. Michael Jackson beat out Elvis. He beat out the king. He beat the king. You know what I'm saying? He beat out the Beatles. He beat out all these cats. And then where he messed up is because when they tried to bid for the rights of the Beatles, he went and bought it and took it, and they couldn't outbid him. Either they didn't put enough force behind it, or they didn't have enough money to topple him. And I think people were upset at that. I think his last tour, when he said, this is it, this was it. You know what I mean? And I'm not really one with conspiracies. I just think that this is a witch hunt, and now everybody's trying to get paid off his estate after he's already dead. Where was all these allegations when he was alive? I'm sure if they came down and they wrote something to where I pay you off and you can't say nothing, I'm sure he would have made it to the point to where it was set in stone that even after death, you can never say nothing about him or he'll sue your pants off. I mean, you got cats that have did that. You got politicians that do it all the time. You got politicians that have went to the extreme and did other things, you know, allegedly. But that's how I see it, you know what I mean? And that's all I'm going to say on Michael Jackson. I know there's going to be a gang of hate on this. Like, you're contradictory what you said with SPM and all these. SPM had it 3 times. This dude had 3 times, you know what I'm saying? And his baby's mom was 13. Like, come on, man. The fuck out of here with that. You know what I mean? But, excuse my language. But, yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's like you put that case and you R. Kelly continuously getting these cases. Continuously, they finding tapes of him on camera. Show me one tape and one proof of Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it makes no sense. It's like they want the money and they're coming after it. And now people are jumping on the bandwagon because it's just the thing to knock down icons. You know, you had Bill Cosby. You know what he did. He admitted it. And basically didn't see nothing wrong with drugging chicks and taking the coochie, ¿sabes? But, you know what I'm saying? These cats are the ones that just tell on themselves. Michael Jackson has never incriminated himself. And that's all I'm going to say on Michael Jackson. I'm a fan, and I don't care what nobody say. And even if it's camarades, we're all entitled to our opinion. So it's like, you know, we ain't going to, agree to disagree. You know what I mean? You're entitled to your opinion, but I just don't feel Michael Jackson did none of that shit. And I think they're just coming after his title, and that's it. You know what I mean? They tried to replace him with Justin Timberlake. It didn't work. There's no Prince of Pop. You know what I mean? There's only a King of Pop, and that was Michael Jackson. But besides that, you know what I mean? This whole thing with the last video, you know, I didn't think it was going to be a response like that. But to the people that really responded and told me like, hey, you know, Blackie, you should just refrain from even tripping off this cat. I did. I was just one of those, if I feel like if a cat got issue, like, I'm with the physicality. If it's just that serious, like, for somebody to try to call me a liar, like, I'm going to get active on that, like, all the time. You know what I'm saying? And especially if I know it's coming from a homie. You know, anybody else, I can kind of brush it aside, but it's coming from a homie. And especially those who try to stipulate, I mean, basically talk as if they knew my vibe. I'm just going to clarify something real quick. The first time my homies have ever banged on anybody in La Valle, it was Chevy Chase. For the watchers from Tunerville and the watchers that, you know, really been around, they know what Chevy Chase locals. I got homies from there, you know what I'm saying? But that was the first one. And my homies were so cocky with it that, look, let me just tell you something. The first 2 fools that pretty much started my neighborhood were from Clanton. So just to clarify something for the fools that don't know shit about my neighborhood but continue to speak as if they do. My homies didn't care about nobody in Hawaii because they thought everybody was inferior because they came from West LA. You know what I'm saying? They just had that LA mentality. It's just like, oh, this not even turned up. So they didn't even pay attention to nobody. And when they did, the first ones we ever clashed with was Chevy Chase. And that was, and it's a trip because some of the watchers that were there during that clash, I know them. I mean, it wasn't nothing, no gunplay, but it was like, it was physical. The homies were getting down, whatever. And then that, you know, that transcended into something that beef in the future with the youngsters. But I mean, that's just the way things go. Most of my amigas were in West LA and other places. You know, it's like that. You know what I mean? Nobody really tripped off the Valle like that. You know what I'm saying? We got along with a lot of fools, and then things started kicking up and it became city beef. And that's pretty much how that went for the people that want to know about my barrio. It's like, I try not to come on here and glorify anything about the hood, because never once did you ever hear me say anything about my hood is the hardest. If I told you in Sun Valley, probably the hardest neighborhood at that time was Violent. Now, whatever, you know what I mean? But at that time, Violent was like, it wasn't nobody in the city fucking with them, not even us. But nobody can say that they took us out. You'll hear all this garbage 3-man gang, but I mean, no dead homies from my hood from any enemigas hand. So, you know what I mean? And we're not tied with no hood. You know what I mean? It's always, if it crack, you know what I mean? It's either you take that W or we take an L, and we ain't took an L from nobody. So, and that's just, and that's not even to like glorify anything. Cause like I said, I'm not out there doing none of that. I just like to clarify things. And when you talk about Burbank, you mentioned, you know, the homie mentioned, you know, Playboys and BTR and Elmwood. If you remember back in the days, you would have remembered Burbank Primeros. You can't mention neighborhoods like that without mentioning Primero, because they were in Burbank también. Westside Locals is not in Burbank. They're in Glendale. Let me just clarify that. And anybody that you know from Westside Locals back in the days can tell you about me, because we're like this. You know what I'm saying? Even Westside Locals, Glendale, South Central, Westside Locals, we were cool with all of them. You know what I mean? I'm from Locals, but you know, anyways, that's not even to glorify anything. You know, I just wanted to clarify it for homies. There's a lot of things, and I'm just gonna tell you like this. Back in the days, all the riders knew who all the riders were, because that's what you wanted to do when you were beefing with a certain hood. You wanted to take the top dog. You didn't waste your time with these little ragamuffs. It was always the top dogs. And me, personally, I knew every top dog as far as that were with that business from every barrio in La Valle, and that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And you knew that if you really was out there doing your thing. I know where Tierra's at, and it's nothing against North Hollywood. I know fools from North Hollywood that I'm cool with. Back in the days, we didn't get along. City beef, you know what I'm saying? But I also remember your barrio used to be next to the police station, and nobody could get there. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Like, I know all the history in La Valle when it comes to hoods, because I'm from La Valle, you know what I mean? But that's not to glorify anything. Like I said, it's just to clarify certain things for people that might not live in the area. Never once did I ever say my hood was the hardest, but ain't nobody took us out, you know what I mean? And if there's that much issue, like, I got homies in the hood, you can always go there and do whatever you're gonna do. You might not make it out of there, but that's just, you know, that's just to clarify things for the homies that, you know, because there's some cats that from other areas that don't know, you know what I mean? And they might think this dude's mouth is scripture, and it's not. You know, this vato don't know nothing about my barrio, because if he did, he would have mentioned that we used to have beef, you know, even when they had Elmer and all that, you know what I mean? And the K&L pad in North Hollywood. You got to go deep, dog. You can't talk about my barrio, you know, and you know absolutely nothing about it. It's just that plain and simple, you know what I mean? But, you know, for the camaradas that, you know, are looking to, you know, put their shit out there, get at me, dog. I don't care. Like, I'm always going to look out for the homies. That's just it is. But there's some homies I just will never collab with, because we're just not on the same page. I'm not here to disrespect the car. I'm just here to push people in a different route if they can. But I'm not going to talk down on us in order to, you know, get some type of, you know, whatever audience you're trying to push. But on that note, I'm getting ready for a trip, so I'm going to record wherever city we end up in. So you want to enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Zod, and I am out. Late.
Kneel before Zod!